Well, here I am with Conrad Weisers once again, and Bill Molyneux and Fast Play War Games, and I'm going to have Lynn Otto talk to you a bit about Conrad Weiser. Take it away, Lynn.
Thanks, Bill. We're standing at the grave of Conrad Weiser, who died in 1760. We're at his homestead. Conrad Weiser, for the mid part of the 18th century, especially in Pennsylvania, was one of the most influential people that you would find. He was able to do a assortment of things. He was a justice of the peace. He was a judge. He was very much responsible for helping settle the town of Reading, and also the county of Berks in 1752, and was a soldier for 2 years. So the man had a lot of ability, but his main job that he's known for the most is being an Indian interpreter. And one of the reasons he was so good at being an Indian interpreter is his childhood was spent up in the New York State, and he was sent to live with the Mohawk Indians for about a year of his life. And although he, in his writings, did not really appreciate it at the time, he picked up the language and customs of the natives. And when he came back and came down to Pennsylvania, and it was right at the beginning of when Indian policy was being created in Pennsylvania. They found out that he was a man that could go to and could interpret some of the conferences and peace treaties that were signed. One of his best friends was a Native American named Shikellamy. They formed a friendship that lasted from about 1731 to 1748, when Shikellamy died. And it was through this union that we really believe that the French and Indian War, had not that friendship been in place, the French and Indian War could have started a lot sooner than it did. But again, just a man of many talents, many worlds. Yet you're British, you had the Native Americans, and you also had the French. So he doesn't always get his just due, but we'd like to talk and tell about the story of Conrad Weiser. Thank you.
All right, and I have to ask a couple questions. Why are we here at this Sunday in March in snow?
Well, in March, we celebrate the birthday of Pennsylvania, when William Penn got the charter from King Charles, and it's usually the second Sunday in March. And the reason we're in the snow is because yesterday we had a snowstorm.
All right.
But a lot of dedicated volunteers like you and others came, and we were able to have a program today.
All right, and Lynn, I'd like to ask one more question. I did a video of the whole grounds. It's like 26 acres, but the statue down at the far end, I could not pronounce the Native American's name.
Shikellamy.
Can you tell a little bit about that statue, and then we'll say goodbye to everyone?
Sure. The park was created in the late 1920s, and there was a patriotic organization called the Improved Order of Redmond that first bought the boulder, and then later on bought the statue of Shikellamy to put there to basically set off the park from the west end going east, and it's been a landmark with us ever since the park was founded.
All right. Well, thank you, Lynn. And it's always very enjoyable for me to do historical activities with you throughout the years.
Thank you, Bill. It's great seeing you.
And everyone out there in YouTube world, stay safe, be kind, and be courteous. Hello, Bill Molyneux here. Fast Play War Games, Nottingham Wargaming Group. And I'm outside of Reading, Pennsylvania at Conrad Weiser Homestead Park, and his entire his home and the outbuildings and such. Charter Day for Pennsylvania is the second Sunday in March, and we're going to walk around Conrad Weiser's 26-acre park here. It's snowing, it's cold, it's March 12th, a Saturday. I have a French Indian War event here on the 13th, but I drove in today. It is supposed to clear up. So we're going to go visit some of these buildings, and I don't normally do a lot of these historic videos, but let's see how I do with this one, and I'll pause and go to another building. Well, here we are at one of the main homes. There's a nice museum in this building. I believe the office for the site is up there where that air conditioner is. We'll follow along the path. Now, there's the spring house. And of course, that's where you would store your milk and butter. And it has several layers. And also an oven in there, a kitchen. And it's cold out here. 4 or 5 days ago in Maryland, where I live, it was almost 80 degrees. So this building here is said to probably be his original home. Inside is a very nice museum. Try to get a further back picture of it without killing myself walking in the snow. So here's the building that's probably his original home. Now, Conrad Weiser, he negotiated with the natives in this area, and he traveled all through Pennsylvania, and he was instrumental on talking the natives into supporting the British rather than the French, or going neutral. And the French army desperately needed the natives' assistance during the French Indian War, and that was one of the reasons the French did lose the French Indian War, was the loss of their native allies. Wow, let's go up and look at the graveyard where Conrad is buried. And I'll pause it here. Well, this is Conrad's tombstone. And these other blocks throughout this small cemetery are where Native American chiefs are buried. They used to, he negotiated with. And this park has a lot of nice monuments in it. It's a lot nicer to visit this park in the summer. Here's a neat monument to Conrad Weiser. So in this part of Pennsylvania, he's quite well known. But in the world of the French Indian War world, he's well known. But other than that, he's sort of fallen to the side of other historic figures during our nation's history. We're going to walk down and look at a really neat statue. I'm going to pause the video. As I'm walking to the statue we're heading to, this is the area that our reenactment will take place tomorrow. This little wooden grove area. And I know they said we're only supposed to get a couple inches of snow, but I'm going to say there's a solid 4 inches on the ground. I am wearing a French Indian War capot, covered in wool, and my French Melisse toque. And I have my French Indian War mittens on. But I'm still a little chilly. We'll stop the video here and walk up to our next statue. Well, I think this statue is really nice. For Native Americans, if you really think about it, there are not a lot of Native American statues. And this was erected in 1927. And he's a pretty big bronze native. And I won't even attempt to pronounce his name. Now, if I had Debbie Swartz or Dennis McKibben, Native American historians that know a lot more than I will ever know, but many people of my YouTube world will never get to this park. Jack Brendel, way over in Arizona, my good friend Jack. John and the whole sheriff's department. You guys aren't too far from Reading, from Broome County, New York. This could be a fun road trip to visit the Amish area in Lancaster and stop here. Well, I've been here many times and done many events for Lynn Otto, who runs a lot of these historic sites for the volunteer side of things. And this park is really beautiful in the summer. I'm going to pause it here. We're going to go visit a couple more statues. Well, I'm heading to the main house, but I thought I'd just take a moment here and pan the scenery. This is a beautiful 26-acre park. Lots of benches, walkways. There's a lot of trees. And there's also a pond, which I'll zap the pond when we get over to it. But if you are in the Lancaster Reading area right off of Route 422, this is really a neat little historic site that's overlooked probably by a lot of people. Let's head over to that building. Well, here we are at the front of the main house, and I hear the geese. And yes, it's quite windy out, and it's darn cold. Now, the Native American encampment is across that little bridge, and I have stayed there when I've portrayed Native American with Jeff Solomon and Debbie Swartz the turtle. So it's actually quite pretty here, even though it's snowing, and I have been here with snow before too. So we have a Canadian geese, or I guess it looks like just one out there. And then behind me is a World War I statue made out of marble. You know, we're in a conflict now, or the Ukraine is, and we're giving them aid against Russia. This is March 12th, 2022, and it always amazes me how the past wars have statues and monuments built to be the final war. And it never seems to be the case. That it just keeps going on and on and on. Wow. One of the reasons I like to help teach history, both with fast play war games and my reenacting and miniature wargaming, is all the lives that are lost in the military conflicts, and sometimes they can't be helped when you have a bad person in charge of situations that you need to be stopped. But that's about it for my political rant. From Conrad Weiser's outside of Reading, Pennsylvania, off of Route 422. I'm getting quite nippy cold, so I'm going to say stay safe, be kind, be courteous, like my video, leave some comments. I actually tromped around out here for over 30 minutes to bring you this video in the snow and wind. Thank you. Here I have Lynn Otto, and you might recognize him from previous videos here at Fort Frederick. And Lynn, I'm just going to let you take it away.
Thank you, Bill. I am a officer in the 1st and 3rd Battalion Pennsylvania Regiment. It's a recreated unit of the Pennsylvania Regiment that was indeed raised by the colony of Pennsylvania in 1756 to build a series of forts and patrol between them, hoping to keep the French and the natives from coming down and attacking through the forts. Unfortunately, the distance between the forts and the amount of men, it probably was not as effective as the assembly would have wanted it to be. We also, our claim to fame is that we were on the Forbes campaign and helped build Fort Ligonier, among others. And when finally General Forbes decided to go and attack, or at least get close to Fort Duquesne, when they arrived and found that Fort Duquesne was in ruins, the Pennsylvania Regiment was actually one of the 2 units that were raising the King's colors above Fort Duquesne.
Well, that's very cool. And how did today's battle go at our reenactment? We had our first battle today. Any feedback on that? I know we had no casualties. Everything was safe. And did the public enjoy it? What do you think?
I think the public enjoyed it. There was a little mix-up on the French side, but that's to be expected with the French. But everything went well, no injuries, and I think a good time was had by all.
Very good. I think it went off pretty good too. And I'm going to go and do some more interviews with other officers. And thank you for taking the time for this video as we try to teach people about the French Indian War. Stay safe, be kind, and be courteous, everyone.